वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवति उत्तमं श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 13, description of the descendants of Dhruv Maharaj. Text number 28 onwards. So we saw yesterday how Maharaj Anga is performing the sacrifice, but somehow in the sacrifice, demigods were not appearing to take their share, so the sacrifice wasn't complete. So let's see how it goes further. Na vidammehe devanam helanam vyamanam api yanna grinanti bhagana swanye deva karma sakshina. So the priests are telling the king, "Dear king, we do not find any reason that the demigods should feel insulted or neglected in any way. But still the demigods who are witnesses for sacrifice do not accept their shares. We do not know why this is so. It is indicated herein that if there is negligence on the part of the priest, the demigods do not accept their share in sacrifices. Similarly, in devotional service, there are offenses known as seva aparadha. Those who are engaged in worshipping the deity, Radha and Krishna, in the temple should avoid such offenses in service. The offenses in service are described in the Nectar of Devotion. If we simply make a show of offering services to the deity but do not care for the seva aparadha, certainly the Radha Krishna deity will not accept offerings from such non-devotees. Devotees engaged in temple worship should not, therefore, manufacture their own methods, but should strictly follow the regulative principles of cleanliness, and then offerings will be accepted. So here in this case, they're thinking there's some negligence on part of the priest. That's why the demigods didn't accept their share. And Prabhupada, he's stressing on the seva aparadha, because for us, either we do nama aparadha while chanting the holy names, or while worshipping the deities, we do seva aparadha. So seva aparadha, there's so many, and so one has to be very careful when he's serving the deities, especially of Radha and Krishna. Because Gaur Nitai, they are very merciful. They don't take the offenses very seriously. They're always chanting and dancing, so they don't bother. Even Jagannath, he doesn't bother too much. But Radha Krishna is a little difficult to serve them. So that is why Prabhupada always stressed that the devotees should keep Gaur Nitai deities at their homes. So many seva aparadhas are there that we can, whenever we study Nectar of Devotion, we can study those. Well, one thing is cleanliness. Prabhupada talked about cleanliness, inside and outside cleanliness. So that is very important. So that should be maintained while we are serving the deities. Text 29. Maitri uvacha ango dvijvacha shrutva yajmana sudurmana tat prashtum vyasrijadvacham sadasyans tad anugyaya. Maitreya explained that King Anga, after hearing the statements of the priests, was greatly aggrieved. At that time, he took permission from the priest to break his silence and inquired from the priests who were present in the sacrificial arena. Nagachantya huta deva nagrinanti grihanyam sadaspatyo bruta kim vadyam maya kritam. King Anga addressed the priestly order. My dear priest, kindly tell me what offense I have committed. Although invited, the demigods are neither taking part in the sacrifice nor accepting their shares. So the king understood some offense has been committed on his part, not on the part of the priest, but on his part. Sadaspataya uchuhu Naradeve bhavatu nagham tavan manakastitam astekam praktam agham yadi hedrikhatvam aprajaha. The head priest said, O king, in this life we do not find any sinful activity, even within your mind, so you're not in the least offensive. But we can see that in your previous life you performed sinful activities, due to which, in spite of your having all qualifications, you have no son. So they said, in this life you haven't committed any sinful activity, even within the mind. You never even thought of committing any sinful activity. So just imagine how pure Maharaj Anga must be. But in your previous life, you have performed some sinful activities. That is why, in spite of having all good qualifications, you have no son. So, many times people don't believe in the karma philosophy that we did something wrong in a previous life. Not just previous life, it could be many previous lifetimes. And that is why we have to suffer for those reactions. We will get the sinful reactions. Simple as that. The purpose of marrying is to beget a son, because a son is necessary to deliver his father and forefathers from any hellish conditional life in which they may be. So this is the duty or duty of a son actually. There is a hell named Put. So Put Traite iti Putra. So one who delivers his forefathers from the hell named Put, that is considered as Putra. Chanakya Pandit therefore says, Putra hinam griham shunya. Without a son, married life is simply abominable. King Anga was a very pious king in this life, but because of his previous sinful activity, he could not get a son. It is concluded, therefore, that if a person does not get a son, it is due to his past sinful life. Now, we are not talking that if daughter is there, then the Griha is not Shunyam. That whatever Chanakya Pandit is saying is talking about the son, nothing against the daughters. But here, Prabhupada concluded that if a person, it looks like it, if a person does not get a son, it's due to his past sinful life. But looks like in this lifetime, in this Kali Yuga, even if you have a son, it looks like it is from your past sinful life. Because the sons, they don't listen to the parents anymore. Even the daughters also. All the kids are same. And Chanakya Pandit at another place, he says that what is the use of having a son who's not well behaved, not educated, and not a devotee? Then it is like, then he says, Putra and Mutra, it's the same because they both come from the same place. Chanakya Pandit is very heavy. So not just having a son is important. He should be qualified. He should be very well educated, have proper etiquettes, and should be a devotee. Then and then only he can deliver his father and forefathers. Otherwise, chances are he will send his parents to hell while they're living in this world. And this we see so many places, so many households. There's so much of fight between father and son, and brother and brother, and brother and sister, and they're practically making the hellish life of everybody. Tatha sade bhadram te atmanam suprajam dhripa ishtaste putra kamasya putram dasyati yagbhuk. O king, we wish all good fortune for you. You have no son, but if you pray at once to the Supreme Lord and ask for his son, and if you execute the sacrifice for that purpose, The enjoyer of the sacrifice, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will fulfill your desire. So we'll see in the story of Maharaj Anga that although he performed the sacrifice and the priest said, in this life you haven't even committed any sinful activity, even in your mind. So he does everything, and still he got his son, who was Vena, and Vena was so cruel that Maharaj Anga, he left his kingdom. He just left his kingdom and just went to the forest. He was so sick and tired of his son. So that also, I mean, even he got it by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Still, what kind of son he gets, we'll see. तथा स्वभागधेयानि गृहीष्यन्ति दिवोकसः यद्यज्ञ पुरुषः साक्षात् अपत्याय हरिर्वृतः. When Hari, the supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices, is invited to fulfill your desire for his son, all the demigods will come with him and take their shares in the sacrifice. Whenever a sacrifice is performed, it is meant for satisfying Lord Vishnu, the enjoyer of the fruits of all sacrifices. And when Lord Vishnu agrees to come to a sacrificial arena, all the demigods naturally follow their master, and their shares are offered in such sacrifices. The conclusion is that the sacrifices performed are meant for Lord Vishnu, not for the demigods. So now, if simple as that, if the boss is coming, rest everybody will come. So earlier they were just inviting the demigods, and they were not coming, citing whatever reasons. It's simple. I remember just like when we conduct Rath Yatra festival in the temples. So generally, in Gurgaon, we used to go and invite MLAs, the local sitting MLA, and the MLA would say, "Oh no, I don't have time. I have meeting. I have to do this. I have to do that." And then what we used to do, actually, we have already invited the Chief Minister, Mr. Khattar. And then we tell him, "Oh, Mr. Khattar is coming. You see if you can go." If Mr. Khattar is coming, then we have to come. Then you don't even have to invite us. So that would be their response. So same thing here. If Lord Vishnu is coming, or if Lord Vishnu appears, then all the demigods will definitely come. So similarly, if we please Krishna, all the demigods will be pleased. Just like Bhagavatam gives the example of watering the root of the tree. If we water the root, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasya prabhava, everything comes from me. Means he is the root of everything, and if he is pleased, definitely all the demigods will be pleased. And more than that, now we have to get ready for Radha Ashtami. And next Tuesday is Radha Ashtami. More than Krishna, Krishna is very hard to be pleased, first of all. He demands so many things in Bhagavad Gita. If we just please Srimati Radharani, and she is very, very easily pleased by our service. She sees our service mood, and that's it. She will be pleased. She sees how lovingly we are trying to serve her and serve Krishna. She will be pleased. And if she is pleased and she recommends us to Krishna, there's no way Krishna can deny his mercy on us. There's no way. And this is what Prabhupada also said, that if Radharani is pleased and Radharani recommends you Krishna, see this devotee is doing such a nice service, nothing Krishna can do besides accepting us. So all we need to do is serve properly, so Srimati Radharani is pleased. Text 34. Tanstan kaman harirtatya yadyan yan kamete janah aradhito yathavaisha tatha punsam phalodaya. The performer of the sacrifices under karma kanda activities achieves the fulfillment of the desire for which he worships the Lord. So here Maharajanga is worshipping to get a son. So the performer will achieve the fulfillment of the desire. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that he awards benedictions to the worshipper according to his desire. The Supreme Personality of Godhead gives all living entities conditioned within this material world full freedom to act in their own way. But to his devotee, he says that instead of working in that way, it is better to surrender unto him, for he will take charge of the devotee. That is the difference between a devotee and a fruitive actor. The fruitive actor enjoys only the fruits of his own activities, but a devotee, being under the guidance of the Supreme Lord, simply advances in devotional service to achieve the ultimate goal of life, to go back home, back to Godhead. The significant word in this verse is kaman, which means sense gratificatory desires. A devotee is devoid of all kaman. He is anya bilashita shunya. A devotee is always devoid of all desires for sense gratification. His only aim is to satisfy or gratify the senses of the Lord. That is the difference between a karmi and a devotee. So here Maharaj Anga, he is performing this sacrifice for the pleasure of Vishnu, but then again he has some material desire in his mind to get his son. And actually that desire was so that son can carry on with ruling over the kingdom, so he can retire and go for his tapasya. So in a way it is material and in a way it's spiritual desire, but regardless, he did not ask for unalloyed devotion service. Iti vyavasita viprastasya ragyah prajataye purodasham niravapan shipivishthaya vishnave. Thus, for the sake of a son for King Anga, they decided to offer oblations to Lord Vishnu, who is situated in the hearts of all living entities. So he knew what the Brahmins wanted. According to sacrificial rituals, animals are sometimes sacrificed in the yajna arena. Such animals are sacrificed not to kill them, but to give them a new life. Such action was an experiment to observe whether the Vedic mantras were being properly pronounced. Sometimes the small animals are killed in a medical laboratory to investigate therapeutic effects. In a medical clinic, the animals are not revived, but in the yajna arena, when animals are sacrificed, they are again given life by the potency of Vedic mantras. The word Shipi Vishtaya appears in this verse. Shipi means the flames of the sacrifice. In the sacrificial fire, if the oblations are offered into the flames, then Lord Vishnu is situated there in the form of the flames. Therefore, Lord Vishnu is known as Shipi Vishta. So Lord Vishnu is there and he knew the hearts, or he knew what the Brahmins wanted, and he was going to fulfill the desire. Tasmad Purusha Uttastho Hema Malyam Malambara Hiranyamayana Patrena Siddham Adaya Payasam. As soon as the oblation was offered in the fire, a person appeared from the fire altar wearing a golden garland and a white dress. He was carrying a golden pot filled with rice boiled in milk. So now this part, maybe some other scriptures talk about it or some other places. This part I never understood. Why he always comes with rice as a benediction, and through the rice everybody gets whatever desires they want. Why always rice? Why always kheer? I'm sorry, not just rice. Why always the sweet rice, so payasam? That I never understood. Text 37. Sa vipra anumato raja grihitvanjali nodanam avaghraya muda yukta pradat patnya udaradhi. The king was very liberal, and after taking permission from the priest, he took the preparation in his joined palms, and after smelling it, he offered a portion to his wife. The word Udaradhi is significant in this connection. The wife of the king, Sunita, was not fit to accept this benediction. Yet the king was so liberal that without hesitation he offered to his wife the boiled rice and milk prasad received from the Yajna Purusha. Of course, everything is designed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as will be explained in later verses. This incident was not very favorable for the king. Since the king was very liberal, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in order to increase his detachment from this material world, willed that a cruel son be born of the queen, so that the king would have to leave home. As stated above, Lord Vishnu fulfills the desires of the karmis as the desire. But the Lord fulfills the desire of a devotee in a different way, so that the devotee may gradually come to him. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. The Lord gives the devotee the opportunity to make progress further and further, so that he may come back home, back to Godhead. So Maharaj Anga wanted a son. Lord appeared. He performed the sacrifice, so Lord appeared with this pot of sweet rice. So here it is said, Maharaj Anga's wife Sunita was not a fit candidate for that prasadam. We'll study later why she was not fit. And but still, Maharaj Anga was very liberal, and he gave her the prasadam. So, for Prabhupada explains, for karmis, if they have some desires, Lord Vishnu fulfills the desire. But for devotees, he may fulfill the desire in such a way that the devotee may gradually come to him. So Maharaj Anga is a great devotee. No sinful activity even in his mind. So Krishna, Lord Vishnu, is going to fulfill his desire for his son, but in such a way that ultimately he'll just leave everything and go to the forest to do his tapasya, so he can go back home, back to Godhead. So Krishna's dealing with his devotees is completely different than his dealing with the karmis. Completely different. For a devotee, he might not even fulfill the desire, whatever the desires of devotees have. Or he might fulfill the desires partially, or might fulfill the desire the way he wants. Or he might even give the devotees exactly opposite of whatever they were requesting or desiring. It's all up to Krishna. But one thing for sure, that he wants to give us the opportunity to make further and further progress on the path back home, back to Godhead. That is for sure. So whatever is happening in our lives, just have this faith. That faith we have to have. That everything, although whatever little bit devotion we all are performing, so that faith we have to have. Through Prabhupada's books, that much we have to have the understanding that whatever Krishna is doing is for my betterment. He is my best well-wisher. He is my best friend. And he will not let me down. Not let me down in the way that I'll always make progress. That's all. No matter what else is happening. And what happens is, right now, whatever anybody is going through, might not be able to see what is happening. But just like this guy, Steve Jobs, he was Apple CEO. He said in one of his talks, not a devotee, but he had eaten lots of ISKCON prasadam, so it must be a devotee. So he said in one of his speeches, you can only connect the dots when you look back. So after a few years, when we look back and whatever we are going through right now, after a few years, when we look back and try to connect the dot, then we'll definitely see, oh, it was Krishna's arrangement all the way. Krishna wanted me to do this, and I was actually thinking of doing that. So Krishna didn't let me do that. He just kept on pushing me towards whatever he wanted me to do. And ultimately, it all turns out to be good for our devotion service. So if we have this faith right now, that will save us from plenty of mental agony, actually, mental distress. Because not having faith will definitely put us in distress. And if we have faith in Krishna, whatever is happening, it's going to be His mercy. So from the scriptures, this kind of faith we have to develop. Not just faith, it should come to the stage of nishtha, fixed faith. And that is when the faith is fixed, then we won't react, we won't retaliate to anything. Just like if we have fixed faith in our say parents, we should have. So if the neighbor comes or any relative comes, says something, we know my father is going to protect me, save me, and take care of me. So why would I bother about whatever anybody is saying? So similarly, if we have full faith in Krishna, and we might see plenty of things going against, or things that are many obstacles are there. But if the faith is there, and a strong faith, fixed faith, then there is no worry. Krishna can take care of anything and everything. And through his devotee's life, Krishna always teaches us this part. Have firm faith in me and continue on with your devotion service. Rest I'll take care. Don't worry. Whenever the time is right, you will see the results. From the life of Dhruv Maharaj, we saw that. From the life of Maharaj Anga, we'll see. Prahlad Maharaj, any other Pandavas went through so much. Only thing they didn't lose was the faith in Krishna. And then they became victorious. Even in the battle of Mahabharata, where they had not a single chance of winning that battle. Not a single chance. How Krishna protected Arjuna and Bhima all the way and made them take the credit, especially Arjuna, and make him take the credit for winning the war. But it was all Krishna's doing. So that faith we have to develop, full faith. And again, now you will say I'm little partial. Not little partial, I'm completely partial, I can say. Krishna is very crooked. He stands in threefold bending form. He's very crooked. It's difficult to develop faith in him, but have faith in Srimati Radharani. She is straight. She always stands straight. And Srimati Radharani, being a lady, ladies are very compassionate and simple and very loving, caring, nurturing. So have faith in Radharani, and if any problem, you can always go to Radharani and cry before her and tell her the problem. And Radharani has sent her representative as Srila Prabhupada to us. So we can tell him the problem, and he will take care, or she will definitely take care. And if they take care, if she takes care, then Krishna has to come running to take care of the problem. So all we have to is develop faith and continue on, carry on with the devotional service. So I'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Manthan.
Beautiful class. Very nice.
Thank you. Chalo, so I guess we can stop here. You all have a wonderful and safe day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Jai
Thank
Shri
you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.